Katrina Ashley Edlund was born on July 16, 1982. She was the youngest child of her mother, Vikki. Katrina had two siblings, an older brother named Chad and a younger sister named Miraynda. As a child, Miraynda admired her older sister Katrina and often tried on her clothes and makeup, aspiring to be just like her. As time went on, their bond grew stronger, and they became more like best friends rather than just sisters. After her parents' separation, Katrina lived with her mother in Machesney Park, Illinois, a peaceful community outside the city. Known for her kind-hearted nature and love for fun, Katrina was adored by those who knew her. She especially cherished the holiday season and took great joy in giving gifts to her loved ones. Katrina was deeply involved in her church and had a strong desire to help others, always willing to lend a helping hand. Despite her happiness, she longed for love and believed she had found her Prince Charming in Todd Smith, whom she met at a bar when she was 20. Todd, a successful financial planner with his own business, had 3 daughters. Despite their differences, the couple connected instantly, and Todd's flexible work allowed them to travel extensively. After 3 years together, Todd proposed to Katrina, and she joyfully accepted. They planned an intimate ceremony in a local park, and Katrina eagerly looked forward to their future together. She had a deep affection for her stepdaughters and was excited about building a promising future with Todd. Additionally, Todd was highly regarded by Katrina's mother, Vikki, and her siblings, Chad and Miraynda, who considered him to be an exceptional individual. They had complete faith in him to take care of Katrina and believed that they were a perfect match. After tying the knot, Katrina and Todd settled down in Machesney Park, where they embarked on their journey together. On October 20th, 2012, Katrina Smith, a 30-year-old woman, contacted her mother, Vikki, and informed her that she would be house-sitting for a friend. During their conversation, Katrina hinted that she had some news to share with her mother and would be joining her for dinner on October 24th. Vikki sensed that something significant was happening, although she couldn't quite put her finger on it. Before ending the call, Vikki promised to prepare Katrina's favorite dish, chicken and dumplings. Unfortunately, she would never have the opportunity to fulfill that promise. Several days after their conversation, Katrina vanished without a trace, leaving Vikki devastated. At 5 p.m., on October 23rd, Todd Smith contacted 911 to report his wife's disappearance. He informed the dispatcher that Katrina had been house-sitting for a friend and he had been unable to reach her for several hours. When he went to the location where she was staying, he found the house empty. Katrina's sister and brother, Miraynda and Chad, grew increasingly worried upon learning about her disappearance. Chad, who was undergoing training with the U.S. Army in Oklahoma, immediately flew to Illinois to assist in the search for his sister. On the evening of the 23rd, a concerned resident contacted the police to report an abandoned vehicle near Rock River. According to the resident, the car was not parked on the side of the road but appeared to have been hastily abandoned in an easement. When the police arrived to investigate, they ran the license plate and discovered that the car belonged to Katrina Smith. Upon inspecting the vehicle, the police officer found no signs of a struggle or any trace of Katrina. Upon receiving the distressing news that her daughter's car had been discovered abandoned in an unfamiliar area, Katrina's mother, Vikki, immediately sensed that something terrible had befallen her beloved daughter. It was the only logical conclusion that Vikki could draw from the situation. If Katrina's car was found in that particular location, it strongly suggested that someone had forcibly taken her and left the car behind. Following the discovery of Katrina's car, her case was officially declared a missing persons investigation, prompting an intensified search effort. At 11 p.m., on October 12th, Todd Smith was brought in by the police to the Winnebago County Sheriff's Department for a formal interview. During the course of the interview, Todd revealed to the detective that he had last seen his wife, Katrina, on October 22nd. According to Todd, Katrina had briefly returned home to do laundry as she had an important job interview scheduled for the following day. Todd explained that while the laundry was in progress, Katrina left to visit the mall and returned home at 8:30 p.m. However, Todd mentioned that Katrina had swiftly departed once again, informing him that she had one final errand to run before returning to the house she was house-sitting for a friend. The day after Katrina was officially declared missing, Todd Smith made a heartfelt plea to the media, desperately urging for his wife's safe return. Overwhelmed with emotion, Todd broke down in tears as he implored the public to come forward with any information regarding Katrina's whereabouts. As time passed, the search for Katrina grew more intense, with search teams comprising of both law enforcement officers and dedicated volunteers dedicating their time and energy to locating the missing woman. Their efforts were primarily focused on a nearby park, close to where Katrina's car had been abandoned, in hopes of uncovering any potential evidence or leads related to her disappearance. Upon Chad's arrival in Illinois after completing his Army training in Oklahoma, a gathering took place at the park to initiate the search for Katrina, his sister. Utilizing his military expertise, Chad assumed control of the search party, meticulously organizing and assigning teams to thoroughly comb the area. With great efficiency, Chad ensured that every volunteer was actively engaged in the search. Meanwhile, the officers diligently scoured the park, employing a strategic approach of walking side by side in a straight line with the assistance of trained dogs. This method aimed to cover as much ground as possible, leaving no room for even the tiniest piece of evidence to go unnoticed. The officers took every precaution to guarantee a comprehensive search in their relentless pursuit of finding Katrina. In the meantime, Katrina's mother, Vikki, took it upon herself to raise awareness about her daughter's disappearance. She tirelessly distributed missing person flyers throughout the town, leaving them at gas stations, convenience stores, and lampposts. Vikki's primary objective was to ensure that as many people as possible were informed about Katrina's situation. However, due to her overwhelming grief and fear of discovering her daughter's fate, Vikki was unable to actively participate in the search efforts. Throughout this challenging period, Todd, Katrina's husband, experienced intense emotions. Chad provided unwavering support to Todd, urging him to remain strong and emphasizing the importance of maintaining focus on locating Katrina. Chad stood by Todd's side throughout, empathizing deeply with his grieving brother-in-law. During the investigation, an officer made a significant discovery near the location of Katrina's abandoned car. As he continued along the road, he stumbled upon additional items belonging to her, including her cell phone and towels that appeared to have been used to clean blood. It became evident that someone had been discarding Katrina's belongings as they moved away from the vehicle. Unfortunately, the police were still unaware of Katrina's whereabouts at this point, but they strongly suspected foul play. The items discovered on the side of the road were sent to the crime lab for analysis, and the police were eagerly anticipating the results of their examination. Meanwhile, the authorities started to delve into Katrina's personal life to uncover any potential clues that could shed light on her disappearance. As the officers probed into the case of Katrina's vanishing, their goal was to gain a thorough understanding of every aspect of her life. This investigation included looking into whether Katrina had any relationships outside of her marriage, exploring any potential ties to gambling or drug-related activities, and meticulously documenting her daily routines. The officers extensively interviewed Katrina's friends and family to gather this vital information. These individuals unanimously portrayed Katrina as a compassionate, responsible person who consistently prioritized her obligations and refrained from engaging in any suspicious behavior. Katrina's loved ones emphasized her commitment to her job and her strong work ethic. According to their statements, she never displayed any signs of addiction or recklessness. They depicted her as a devoted partner and a diligent woman who always upheld her principles. In the course of searching for Katrina, a woman provided a noteworthy tip. She claimed to have seen a blue vehicle resembling Katrina's car parked on a bridge over Rock River on the night of her disappearance. The trunk of the car was open, and she observed a person kneeling behind it. However, the woman could not provide specific details such as the individual's gender or race. When she came forward and shared this information with the police, they began to consider the possibility that foul play might have led to Katrina's potential submersion in the river. Nevertheless, they lacked concrete evidence to substantiate this hypothesis. The officers understood that they needed to conduct further investigations to determine if anyone had a motive to harm Katrina. Despite assertions that Katrina and her spouse Todd were contentedly married, Todd remained a person of interest. The authorities harbored doubts, recognizing the potential for concealed conflicts or secrets within the marriage. The investigation into Katrina's disappearance persisted, and the police received information that directed them towards a suspect. They discovered that a young man in the town had an unhealthy fixation on Katrina. This fixation dated back to earlier in the year when Katrina confided in her friends about a teenage boy from her church who displayed an unsettling obsession with her. It was alleged that the boy engaged in voyeuristic acts, specifically targeting Katrina by spying on her through her bedroom window. As time passed, Katrina grew increasingly anxious due to the teenager's behavior. However, the peeping activities eventually ceased when the teenager left for college. The police grew suspicious and pondered whether the teenager had returned home at some point and resumed stalking Katrina. Consequently, they allocated significant resources to locate him. 3 days into the search for Katrina, her cell phone, which underwent examination at the crime lab, yielded crucial clues. The phone proved to be a valuable source of information for the investigating officers. By scrutinizing Katrina's cell phone, they gained valuable insights into her text messages, incoming and outgoing calls, pictures, videos, and even her GPS location. Katrina's phone data furnished the police with a wealth of knowledge, enabling them to construct a clearer understanding of Katrina's activities. For example, they discovered that she was engaged in an extramarital affair with a co-worker named Guy Gabriel. The relationship between Katrina and Guy Gabriel commenced innocently enough. They initially met after work one evening and immediately hit it off. Their connection deepened, leading to a romantic involvement. However, the detective's background check on Guy Gabriel unveiled a darker side. Officers made a startling discovery regarding Guy Gabriel's past, revealing a troubling history of domestic violence. In addition, detectives stumbled upon text messages sent by Guy Gabriel to Katrina, in which he demanded that she leave her husband, Todd, for him. These findings, coupled with Guy Gabriel's violent history and his messages to Katrina, led the police to consider him as the primary suspect in her disappearance. The authorities speculated that Guy Gabriel may have become enraged when Katrina refused to leave her husband for him, potentially leading to a violent reaction. The revelation of Katrina's affair with Guy Gabriel left her family in complete shock and disbelief, as they had always believed that she and Todd were the epitome of an ideal and happy couple. Todd, who had been unaware of his wife's infidelity until the police investigation uncovered it, was devastated by the news. The realization that his wife had been unfaithful deeply affected him. Guy Gabriel was summoned to the police department for a formal interview with the investigators looking into Katrina's disappearance. Throughout the interview, Guy appeared visibly nervous. While he did confess to having an affair with Katrina, he vehemently denied any involvement in her disappearance. According to Guy, he was at work on the night Katrina went missing. As the police delved further into Katrina's relationship with her coworker Guy Gabriel, they uncovered an incident that had occurred 2 weeks prior to her disappearance. Witnesses informed the authorities that during lunchtime at the auto shop where Katrina and Guy worked, a black Volkswagen Jetta had swiftly raced through the parking lot. The masked driver had tossed a stack of flyers through the open sunroof of the car. These papers had fluttered down from the sky, landing at the feet of the employees who had gathered outside. As the car sped away, the workers picked up the flyers, which contained derogatory statements about Katrina and Guy Gabriel's relationship. However, the identity of the driver of the Volkswagen Jetta remained unknown. During the police investigation, Katrina's hairstylist disclosed that Katrina had confided in her about feeling unsafe and wanting to buy a gun for self-protection. Katrina had expressed concerns of being followed and had even taken her phone to a store to check for any tracking device. Crime scene investigators utilized luminol, a chemical compound that reacts with blood and produces a bright glow, to examine Katrina's car at the police garage. The luminol revealed a significant amount of blood in the trunk of her car. The investigators then focused their attention on the front seat, where they sprayed luminol again to uncover more bloodstains, further strengthening their suspicions. Additionally, upon inspecting the undercarriage of Katrina's car, the investigators discovered remnants of a GPS tracker. Through thorough examination and analysis, it was confirmed that the blood found in the car belonged to Katrina. The substantial amount of blood found led the police to a disturbing conclusion: Katrina's well-being was in serious jeopardy. 18 days after Katrina's disappearance, the police department received a call from an off-duty fireman who was fishing on Rock River. The fireman noticed something in the river and, upon approaching it, realized it was a body. The fire department was called in to retrieve the body, which was later identified as that of a female. However, due to severe decomposition, determining whether it was Katrina Smith or not proved challenging. The body was then transported to the medical examiner's office, where an autopsy was conducted to determine the cause of death. Dental records were provided to a county dental expert in order to establish the identity of the remains. After conducting the examination, the expert compared the dental records of the body to those of Katrina Smith and concluded that the body recovered from the river was indeed Katrina Smith's. The cause of Katrina's death was determined to be blunt force trauma to the head. Upon learning that Katrina had been found dead and that her death was a result of a violent blow to her head, her family was overcome with grief and broke down in tears. The news was devastating, and the weight of the situation overwhelmed them emotionally. Vikki, Katrina's mother, couldn't believe the news. The knowledge that her daughter had suffered such a brutal attack on her head was unbearable for her. The authorities located the teenage boy who had allegedly been stalking Katrina and cleared him as a suspect after confirming his alibi that he had been on campus at his college during the time of Katrina's disappearance and murder. This confirmation ruled him out as a viable suspect, and the police shifted their focus to Katrina's boyfriend outside of her marriage, Guy Gabriel. Guy Gabriel informed the police that he had an alibi for the night Katrina went missing, stating that he had been at work during that time. To support his claim, Guy's managers provided his time card, which verified that he had indeed been at work that night. Furthermore, several co-workers corroborated Guy's alibi, affirming that they had seen him at their workplace. With Guy Gabriel's alibi confirmed, the police no longer harbored suspicions about his involvement in Katrina's disappearance and murder. Although Guy Gabriel was no longer considered a suspect, the police sought his insights into who might have harmed Katrina. Guy revealed that Katrina's husband, Todd, displayed controlling behavior, which prompted him to encourage Katrina to leave her marriage. He believed that Todd's controlling nature could have escalated and resulted in physical harm. As the police delved deeper into Katrina's marriage with Todd Smith, they uncovered several troubling details. Initially, it came to light that Katrina had expressed her intention to divorce Todd to multiple individuals. Additionally, the authorities verified that Katrina had consulted with a divorce lawyer the day before she went missing. Despite Katrina's assertion that she was house-sitting at a friend's condominium, the officers discovered that she had actually moved in because she and Todd had separated. After gathering information and conducting interviews, the police began to suspect Todd's involvement in the mysterious flyer incident at Katrina's workplace. This suspicion intensified when the officers found out that Todd had test-driven a black Volkswagen Jetta, the same make and color as the car implicated in the flyer incident. The timing of these events also raised suspicions, as Todd allegedly took the test drive around the same time the incident occurred. When the police informed Katrina's family that Todd was not only the primary suspect in her murder, but also already in custody, they were utterly shocked and disbelieving. They had held Todd in high regard and considered him more than just a son-in-law. The news left everyone feeling devastated. Katrina's mother, Vikki, was particularly affected. The realization that her daughter's husband could be responsible for her murder left her physically ill. It was inconceivable to her that Todd could have committed such a horrendous act. Vikki had always placed her trust and respect in Todd, and the notion that he could be capable of such a heinous crime never crossed her mind. The police received information about Todd's financial situation, revealing that his investment company was facing legal difficulties. With Todd unemployed, Katrina was the sole provider for the family. Based on this information, the officers developed a theory that if Katrina were to leave Todd and his daughters, she would take the money with her. This realization may have driven Todd to contemplate murdering his wife as a means to gain control over those funds. To gather evidence, the police acquired a search warrant for Todd and Katrina's residence. While conducting the search, investigators unexpectedly came across a baseball bat tucked away in a corner of the garage. Upon closer inspection, they noticed bloodstains on the bat. This finding led them to suspect that it could potentially be the murder weapon used to kill Katrina. The injuries she sustained were consistent with blunt force trauma, which aligned with the possibility of a bat being used. To confirm their suspicions, the investigators conducted a DNA test on the bat. The analysis confirmed that Katrina's blood was indeed present on the bat, solidifying the connection between the murder weapon and the victim. Furthermore, the investigators stumbled upon a meticulously cleaned area underneath the car. Upon further examination, they discovered that the bloodstains found beneath the vehicle matched Katrina's DNA profile. 30 days after Katrina Smith's murder, her husband, Todd Smith, was apprehended and charged with her murder. This arrest brought a sense of relief to her family. On January 11, 2017, Todd's trial commenced, with the state presenting its case to the jury. They painted a vivid picture of the night Katrina was killed. It was revealed that Katrina had recently consulted a divorce attorney to address her marital issues. This meeting served as a pivotal point for the prosecution, as they argued that Katrina's decision to seek legal assistance indicated a troubled relationship. According to the state's argument, Katrina had gone to Todd's house to do laundry in preparation for a job interview the following morning. During her visit, the prosecution alleged that Katrina made it clear to Todd that their marriage was irreparable. This declaration, they claimed, triggered Todd's violent reaction. The state contended that while Katrina was in the garage, Todd, consumed by rage, grabbed a baseball bat and brutally beat her to death. After ensuring Katrina was lifeless, Todd allegedly proceeded to move her body into the trunk of her car. He proceeded to a secluded area called Rock River. Once there, he got rid of her body by tossing it off a bridge close by. After disposing of Katrina's body, Todd left her vehicle on the roadside as he made his way back home to eliminate any traces. He discarded her cell phone and the blood-stained towels he had utilized to tidy up the garage. The jury convicted Todd and sentenced him to 59 years behind bars. Todd Smith maintains his innocence as he's sentenced to 59 years in prison. Although he faced up to life in prison for the murder and concealment of his wife Katrina's body in 2012, 59 years is essentially a life sentence for the 49-year-old. Smith started and ended his statement reading Bible verses, all while maintaining his innocence, saying he believes he'll get a new trial. He said he's not guilty of the acts the state portrayed, saying he harbored no ill will towards anyone, which he said during his allocution statement in court. Katrina's family says they're happy with the sentence, saying they finally feel some closure. They also had their chance in court talking to the man they once considered family. Most people, including Katrina family, felt he had everything to do with the disappearance of Katrina, but they kept telling everyone there's no way you'd hurt Katrina. There was so much tension, Katrina's mother, Vikki said. She now knows Smith indeed did kill her daughter. Nalivak says she still has feelings of guilt that she let her daughter down. Smith will serve his sentence at 100%, which means he cannot get out early for any reason, including good behavior. He has been sentenced to 59 years in prison, 55 years for the murder, the 4 years for the concealment of a homicide.